What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I am going to be speaking about having your moon trining your partner's Venus in synastry. This aspect with somebody, it really makes for a very beautiful aspect to have in your relationship with someone, and that's because it really brings this added enhanced sense of emotional connection and harmony at the same time to a relationship. And the moon person and the Venus person with the synastry really take a liking towards each other, and it's very genuine and it's very real from the beginning and onwards. Them having that emotional connection and also a lot of harmony with the trine here can make it so that their relationship is one that's very supportive, and it's really creating a very supportive environment even for the emotional connection in their relationship. On top of that, with the Venus is influence here, there's also a lot of attraction, and that is a lot of attraction when it comes to the aesthetics and when it comes to the appearances, and there's a lot of admiration between the Venus person and the moon person, which can make for a lot of romance. At the same time, they also have that deep emotional connection where it feels like they're supported emotionally by each other. And because of that and all the positive attributes to this synastry, I would say that it is a hallmark of a soulmate relationship as well. Having this aspect can make it so that it feels a lot easier to be able to create that emotional bond between two people. The moon person here can feel especially secure on an emotional level, and at the same time they can also feel very nurtured by the Venus person, who has a very affectionate and also very loving side when it comes to when they are dealing with the moon person, which is really great for the moon person. They can feel very understood by the Venus person, and they can also feel the sense of being very valued by the Venus person, which in turn can make it even easier for the moon person to be able to open up to the Venus person. They could feel more comfortable in the Venus person's presence, and they could feel this strong emotional connection with the Venus person, and it can make it very easy for the moon person to be able to do things like opening up and being able to be themselves and feel comfort at the same time in the presence of the Venus person. And this aspect can even make it very easy for them to have more of an affectionate and harmonious relationship between the Venus person and the moon person. And when it comes to the Venus person and how they feel about the moon person, they can actually feel very drawn to the more emotional nature of the moon person, and come to find that it's easier to be able to be more open, especially when it comes to expressions of love and care for the moon person, because the moon person is receiving it in a way that's very well. And the Venus person here really goes the extra mile for the moon person, and they could be doing that because they want to. They often want to be able to make the moon person feel very loved, very cared for, and there's a strong willingness to be able to do that and make the moon person feel that from the Venus person. And this aspect just brings really deep affection between the two partners, and also a lot of appreciation and admiration between the two of them. It could even come very naturally, or it could feel like it's very effortless with this trine. And having this synastry with someone can really bring out a lot of empathy between the two partners for each other, as well as a strong sense of really valuing each other. The synastry generally brings a lot of emotional harmony to their connection, and they can feel the sense of being on the same page emotionally, and also being able to feel a lot for each other when it comes to the emotions. And there's a lot of empathy between the two of them, and there's also a very supportive element to this relationship and being able to support each other in their partnership. With this synastry, they're both going to be very attracted to each other. There's a lot of attraction, and there's also a lot of affection at the same time with this, which can go on to make this relationship feel very emotionally fulfilling for both of the partners. You'd feel very understood by each other and feel like they're really getting what they need out of their connection, especially on an emotional level. And the synastry can also have an impact on being very healing for the partners when it comes to them experiencing any emotional connection in a more positive way with each other. They can have a lot of care for each other in this relationship, so much so that it makes their connection almost intuitive between the Venus person and the Moon person. They can even be able to have an understanding that goes beyond words, and can have a connection that can be nonverbal. It can even be that they have more of this unspoken understanding between each other, and that's because of the empathy that can also come with this aspect in a relationship between the Moon person and the Venus person. Even any kind of disagreements or any kind of potential conflicts will be easier to resolve and will be easier to get through with this aspect in a partnership or in a connection. And with all the positive things that are being contributed from this aspect into their relationship and their connection, both the Venus person and the Moon person can actually have and experience a sense of an increase when it comes to their sense of self-esteem and their sense of self-worth. And that can be because with the synastry, there's a lot of feeling of desirability on both ends, from the Moon person to the Venus person and from the Venus person to the Moon person. You can really feel very valued, very appreciated, and that is expressed between the two of them. And that can be very, very reinforcing between the Moon person and the Venus person in this relationship. And it can have a lot of positive effects on both of them, especially when it comes to also their sense of self-esteem, their sense of self-worth, which is why it can be very healing as well. Especially if, say, that perhaps one of the partners coming out of a past relationship that may have been traumatic, or if it may have perhaps affected them on a level that could have left a past wound on them. This relationship may be one that's very healing, and also was going to be one that brings back that sense of a boost in self-esteem and in self-confidence and self-worth, because they really value each other here, and it's very genuine and it's easily felt between both of the partners. The Venus person in this can be very drawn to very beautiful things and harmonious things, and with the Moon person, they can have a way of creating this sense of beauty in some way. It could be related to the environment, and it can also be as far as themselves. They have this beautiful energy that the Venus person is picking up on, especially when it comes to the emotional side of things as well. And that can be why the Venus person can be especially drawn to the Moon person. It could even make the Venus person feel even more understood as far as their needs and their wants in this relationship with the Moon person. They can have a lot of appreciation for that side of them. And this relationship is also going to be one that has a lot of romance. It can feel very good to be around the Moon person, and also for the Moon person, it can feel very good to be around the Venus person. Their bond is also going to be one that has a lot of romance, and they could be very romantically attracted to each other as well. With the Venus person and the more nurturing side being brought out in this relationship, they could be very inspired and willing to be able to bring out the more romantic side of things in their connection with the Moon person, who's also very receptive. And their connection can be one that is easily felt by the people around them, and it's easy to tell the bond that they have and share. That's even by outside people outside of their connection. Another nice thing about the synastry between the Moon person and the Venus person is how their emotional connection is one that's very stable. It is one that is less of a up and down, but more like a one filled with harmony, and it's very stabilizing, which can have a good impact on their well-being in this relationship. And the Moon person and the Venus person with this trine can have a lot in common. It can be a lot of common ground for the reason that it's a trine between these two signs. They can have similar values and similar interests. That can lead to a lot of opportunities for being able to share in a lot of activities that are bonding between the Venus person and the Moon person, and they can really find a lot of enjoyment and fulfillment in being able to spend time together, taking part in any activities or interests that they can very likely share. And another reason why the Moon person can be very attracted to the Venus person is because of how the Venus person can put in a lot of effort towards being able to create harmony. And so when it comes to them having a very stable emotional connection, that can be something that the Venus person really values. And the Moon person can really appreciate that about the Venus person. And in this way, they can feel very taken care of, and like there's a sense of peace in their relationship that they really appreciate with the Venus person. And even if there is any kind of misunderstanding or any kind of conflict or disagreements that may come up, they're going to be able to get through it easily with the Moon person and the Venus person's sense of understanding and empathy when it comes to the way that they treat each other. However, when it comes to the more challenging side, when it comes to having this aspect in the synastry, it can happen that the Moon person and the Venus person are somewhat conflict avoidant, or they try to avoid conflict in their relationship, which can be positive, but at times it can also be necessary to be able to get through any kind of conflict in order to strengthen the relationship and also to feel heard and understood. Whereas they may be more inclined to want to maintain the harmony in their connection, having this in their relationship can also make it so that there are issues that are going unresolved and that exist beneath the surface. But overall, having this aspect in your synastry with someone can really make for a very beautiful aspect to add to a relationship. And between the Moon person and the Venus person, it can have more positives than negatives. And with this trine, it can really enhance the relationship's connection on a lot of levels when it comes to even feelings of emotional healing, and even when it comes to the romantic bond between two people. They can feel very safe with each other, and they can be an easier time building trust within the relationship when it comes to having this aspect added in. Emotionally, they can really feel taken care of by each other in this relationship and this connection with the synastry. Even in difficult times or in challenging times, they can really have an easier time being able to get back on track with this synastry, with this aspect. Well, that does it for this video on having your Moon trining your partner's Venus in synastry. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you found it helpful and that you enjoyed it. And if you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel for more videos. Well, that is where I love and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.